My name is Ryan Carter, 34 years old, and I always thought I had built a perfect life, beautiful wife, stable job, a nice house in the suburbs, and a small circle of loyal friends. But little did I know, this life I cherished was nothing more than a beautifully crafted lie, a ticking bomb set to explode. And it all began a few weeks ago when my wife Vanessa, who had been acting increasingly distant and strangely sweet, suddenly surprised me with something I hadn't expected. She booked me a weekend trip, a full-blown boys' trip to a luxury lakeside resort 3 hours away, fully paid for, telling me I needed a break, that I had been working too hard, saying, "Ryan, you've been killing yourself at work for months, you need this, you deserve to relax with your boys." And honestly, I wanted to believe her, I wanted to think she cared, but deep inside something felt wrong because Vanessa was never the spontaneous, thoughtful type. In fact, over the past 6 months she barely noticed me, rejecting date nights, turning cold in bed, always glued to her phone, always coming home late under the pretense of school board meetings or late yoga sessions, and now all of a sudden she wanted me to go away to enjoy myself, no strings attached. It was out of character, unsettling, but I shrugged it off, told myself maybe this was her way of making up for lost time, so I kissed her forehead, packed my bags, and left Friday morning, waving goodbye to our quiet neighborhood, heading off with my 3 closest friends, Josh, Tyler, and Matt, all excited to drink, relax, and escape reality for a few days. But I couldn't fully enjoy myself because my gut kept twisting. Something about Vanessa's smile before I left felt rehearsed, forced, almost guilty, and every time I called her from the resort, she sounded distracted, hurried, like she was barely listening, like she was somewhere else. And by Saturday night, while my friends were partying by the bonfire, I couldn't take it anymore. Curiosity and suspicion got the better of me, so I grabbed my phone, opened the app for our home security cameras, thinking I'd see an empty house or maybe Vanessa popping in to grab something. But what I saw made my blood freeze because just a few hours after I left, the front door opened and in walked Vanessa. Not in her usual yoga sweats but dolled up in a tight red blouse, skin-tight jeans, makeup done, hair flowing perfectly like she was ready for a hot date. And before I could process that, another figure entered behind her, tall, muscular, wearing a leather jacket, too familiar, too comfortable, walking into my house. And when they moved closer to the living room camera, I realized with crushing horror that it was Brent, my so-called friend, my gym buddy, the guy who worked with me, the guy I trusted, who'd come over for barbecues, for football nights, who smiled in my face while stabbing me in the back. Because the moment they walked in, Vanessa threw her arms around him, kissed him like I hadn't been kissed in months, their bodies grinding like 2 lustful teenagers, and I sat there, in that resort cabin, thousands of dollars spent, watching my wife betray me in real time, and I felt sick, my hands shaking, rage blinding me. But I forced myself to keep watching because I needed to know the truth, needed to see how far it went, and within 15 minutes they were in our bedroom, stripping each other, making love like wild animals in the bed I paid for, in the home I built, and every kiss, every moan, every thrust felt like a dagger stabbing me repeatedly. But I wasn't going to let emotions cloud me. I took screenshots, recorded videos, backed up every second of footage because if I was going down I was taking them both with me. And the more I rewound, the more I realized this wasn't a one-time thing, this had been happening for weeks, different outfits, different positions, even bringing takeout together, laughing in my kitchen, disrespecting every inch of my home while lying to my face. And by Sunday morning I had made my decision. I told my friends there was a work emergency, packed my things, drove back early without informing Vanessa. And when I got to my neighborhood, I didn't pull into my driveway, I parked 2 blocks away, turned my phone on silent, and watched from a distance like a predator stalking prey, waiting for the snake to reveal itself. And sure enough, just before noon, Brent's shiny black car pulled up like clockwork, like they'd done this routine multiple times, and I watched him swagger into my house using the spare key I once thought was hidden safely. And that was my breaking point. My heart burned, my mind raged, but my face stayed calm because I had a plan. I called a locksmith, told him it was an emergency change of locks, arranged for a legal friend of mine to draft up divorce papers, and within hours I made my move. But not before I called Vanessa, pretending everything was fine, asking where she was, and she lied effortlessly. "Oh honey, I'm at Mia's, we're having a girls' spa day." And I smiled because I had driven past Mia's house, empty driveway, and Brent's car was right in front of me, and I told her, "That's funny, sweetheart, because I just drove past Mia's and her car wasn't there. But Brent's car is sitting outside my house." And the silence on the line was delicious, the stammering, the panic, the guilty breathlessness told me everything I needed. So I hung up, walked to my door, knocked loudly, and when no one answered I unlocked it, stormed inside with my phone camera recording, my heart thundering but my voice steady. And the scene was straight out of a sick movie. Brent half naked in my living room, Vanessa scrambling to cover herself with a blanket, their eyes wide, faces pale, guilt smeared across their faces, and I didn't shout, didn't scream, I simply smiled and said, "Don't stop on my account, go on, I'm just here to witness it live." And they panicked. Brent tried to talk, Vanessa cried, but I shut it all down, called in the locksmith who changed all the locks while Brent scrambled to get dressed, grabbing his things and leaving in humiliation, and I turned to Vanessa, told her the marriage was over, told her the world would see her true face, told her I had copies of everything, and she tried to beg, swore it was meaningless, a mistake, but I wasn't falling for the same lies. I told her to pack her things because by the end of the day her clothes would be on the lawn, divorce papers on her desk, and her reputation in shambles, and I delivered on every word, sending the footage anonymously to her school board, to her family, to her friends, uploading snippets online exposing both of them, reporting Brent to HR which got him fired within the week, and I didn't stop there. I filed for divorce, sold the house, took every asset I could legally claim, invested in myself, hit the gym harder, got promoted because Brent's vacancy became my opportunity, and while Vanessa struggled in a motel, blacklisted from teaching, reputation destroyed, Brent unemployed, crawling back to his mother's basement, I thrived, traveled the world, rebuilt my life, and every time I looked in the mirror, I smiled knowing I didn't just survive their betrayal, I crushed it, and all it took was trusting my instincts, checking that home camera, and never letting anyone make a fool out of me again. Because sometimes the best revenge is watching your enemies crumble while you rise from the ashes stronger, smarter, and untouchable.